Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, articles, notes, a bit of research, and we distill it all down into something clear, practical, and something you can actually use right away. We're not here to read from a textbook. We're really looking for those shortcuts to confidence.
And our deep dive today is all about utility. It's focused completely, 100%, on English learners.
Right.
We're going to be tackling one of the most common, but also one of the most paralyzing challenges.
Okay.
And that's how to answer simple, everyday questions naturally.
And confidently.
And confidently, yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're practicing all by yourself.
That's the key, isn't it? This entire session is actually built around a philosophy that we really admire, one shared by the channel Fluent Mindcast.
Oh, yeah. They do great work.
They really do. And it's all about creating a safe, a calm, and a really supportive space for you to practice solo. So the mission today is pretty simple. We want to help you, the person listening, rehearse these really crucial conversational moments, but without all the pressure, without that fear of judgment or that internal panic that it shuts fluency down.
It really does.
This is your zero judgment zone.
And, any learner, whether you're getting ready for a big meeting or you're just dedicated to improving, you want knowledge that's both quick and thorough.
Of course.
And the source material we've looked at, it really provides this beautiful roadmap for turning that general anxiety about language.
Yeah.
That nervous feeling you get.
That feeling.
When you think someone's about to ask you a question, it shows you how to turn that into real, usable command of the conversation.
Okay, let's just dive right in then. When we talk about the core challenge, why is it that a simple question like, how are you, or what do you do, can cause so much trouble, even for someone who's, a pretty advanced learner?
It's essentially a problem of cognitive load.
Cognitive load.
Yeah, and it's just amplified by all that pressure you feel in the moment. So when a simple question comes at you in real time, your brain it shifts instantly into this over-analysis mode.
Right.
You freeze up because you're trying to do three things at once.
Yeah.
You're listening, you're trying to find the right words for the answer, and you're running this full grammar check on your response before you've even said a word.
And that leads directly to the problems we see in the sources, right? The learner either gives a super short answer like, yes, yeah, and it just stops the conversation dead in its tracks, or they get all tangled up trying to translate this perfectly crafted thought from their native language.
They do it word for word.
Word for word, exactly.
And that word for word translation it's maybe the most insidious trap of all.
Why is that?
Because it can result in a sentence that is perfectly grammatical, technically correct, but socially, it's just completely inept.
It sounds stiff.
It can sound stiff or way too formal or just kind of clunky to a native speaker's ear, even if all the individual words are right. So our goal have to be helping you bypass that translation filter completely.
And that whole feeling of freezing, of fighting that inner critic, that's exactly what we're going to tackle today. So our mission is to guide you step by step through these practice methods you can use alone. We're focusing on natural responses, on the right tone, the right rhythm. It's not just about knowing the words. It's about delivering them with a sense of clarity and connection. You want to show comfort, not complexity.
Exactly. Comfort, not complexity. I love that.
So if we start with those internal obstacles, our source material points out that the first thing we have to do is defeat that instinct to overthink the structure in the middle of a sentence.
Right.
There's this great analogy. It's like trying to build the engine while you're driving the car.
That is a perfect analogy. It captures the inefficiency of it all. This impulse, it just slows your speech down so dramatically, and it often makes your whole thought process just stall.
So what's the solution?
The solution, and we're going to drill this over and over today,
Yep.
is practicing conversational chunks.
Chunks!
Yeah, little ready-made phrases and short answers that you can just deploy automatically. It lets you bypass that need for real-time grammatical construction.
Okay, I want to dig into that a little more. For a learner, that instinct to translate is so strong. So how can you actively, stop it?
Yeah.
Are there certain types of phrases that are the worst offenders when you translate them?
That's a great question. And the sources really stress that the translation impulse is strongest when you're dealing with things like idiomatic phrases or social connectors.
Okay.
For example, a really common mistake is translating a greeting literally. Depending on the language, that can come across as way too formal or even I don't know, a little aggressive.
Right.
To fight that, you have to train your brain to connect the social function of the phrase.
The function, not the words.
Exactly. Connect the function to the English equivalent, not the literal meaning of the words.
So instead of thinking, I must now construct a grammatically perfect sentence to express my current state of well-being,
Right.
you just pull out the preset English response, I'm good.
Precisely. That is the chunking strategy in a nutshell. Now, let's talk about that other big challenge, giving those really short, uncommunicative replies.
The conversation killers.
The conversation killers, yeah. Well, yes or no are, they're correct. They're grammatically fine. But they often just end the social exchange right there. And that makes the learner feel less successful, less engaged.
And when you have less successful interactions, even if you were grammatically perfect, it just chips away your confidence over time.
And what's so fascinating here, and what the research really highlights, is this idea of prioritizing social context over perfect syntax.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It means the number one goal of a conversation is connection. It's an exchange of information. So if your answer is clear, if it's polite, and if it encourages more conversation, it's a success.
Even if you use the wrong preposition.
Even if you misuse a tense or a preposition, clarity and connection, those are the absolute foundation. We're aiming for functional communication first.
So if those are the internal obstacles, what should we be actively telling you, our listener, to avoid doing during this solo practice time? What's going to really build confidence?
Okay, first and foremost, avoid the danger of memorizing these rigid, fixed, 5-sentence answers that just sound robotic.
Right.
Language is fluid, it's alive. And if you rely on a script, any tiny change from the exact question you practiced will throw you off completely. We want flexible frameworks that you can adapt on the fly.
So what's the difference then between a flexible framework and a memorized script? Because to a learner, those might sound pretty similar.
That's a fair point. A memorized script is brittle. It's a pre-written paragraph. A flexible framework is more like a structure that you can plug different words into instantly.
Like a template.
Exactly. Think of the structure. I am doing X because reason Y. You can use that framework to answer any question about an activity or a preference. It gives you instant creativity, but inside a safe, reliable grammatical cage.
That makes the difference really clear. Okay, so number 2. In this calm solo practice space, what's the biggest mistake people make during the process of practicing?
It's the tendency to stop and correct every single mistake immediately.
Ah, the inner critic.
Yes. Think of this phase as a rehearsal for flow, or, what athletes call muscle memory. If you're constantly interrupting yourself to fix an article or a preposition, you're preventing your brain from practicing speed, natural rhythm, and tone.
So just let it flow.
Let it flow. This practice is purely for getting the meaning across first. You can analyze and fix mistakes later, maybe record yourself and listen back afterward.
That is such a relief for so many learners. It's a necessary step to just silence that relentless internal critic. So remember, if you're listening, even if you stammer or use the wrong word during these practice pauses, it is still a successful practice because you are breaking the silence barrier.
That's it, exactly. And the final trap, the one we really have to help you steer clear of, is the trap of waiting until you feel fully ready to speak.
Oh, that's a big one.
It is the ultimate roadblock. Fluency doesn't come from mastery. It comes from consistent, simple usage. The research is so clear on this. Practicing short, simple answers consistently is the real accelerator.
So don't wait.
Don't wait. If you wait until you've perfected every complex tense before you answer, "What are you doing?" you'll never, ever get to that comfort level we're aiming for. Start simple and start now.
So we've laid the groundwork for this calm, supported deep dive. For the rest of the session, we're going to model this solo practice technique. I'm going to pose a common question.
Okay.
When you hear the prompt, we want to invite you to hit pause, try answering the question out loud in English, don't write it, speak it. And then when you come back, we will give you some natural, flexible examples. We'll focus on the tone, the rhythm, all those subtle details.
So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and just remember, these practice moments are supposed to be easy. They should feel relaxed. We're shifting the focus away from agonizing over grammar rules and towards speaking with clarity, connection, and most importantly, with confidence.
Okay, let's kick things off with the 2 most foundational social questions in English. If you can master these, it instantly sets a confident, relaxed tone for the rest of any conversation.
They're so important.
So let's start with the absolute king of small talk. How are you?
And what's so fascinating here, and this is a real nugget from our source material, is that in a lot of English-speaking cultures, this phrase it's completely ritualistic.
It's not a real question.
It's not a real question. It's a polite opening, it's a greeting, it's a conversation starter. It is not a literal request for a detailed medical or emotional update.
Right.
It performs a social function, just like a handshake.
So if I'm walking into a coffee shop or I pass a colleague in the hallway and they say, "How are you?" they genuinely do not want a long answer. Is that right?
Generally, no.
Yeah.
Especially not in those casual or, transactional situations. They're just acknowledging you. They expect a short, positive statement and probably for you to ask them back.
Oh.
The expected answer only gets longer if the person asking is like a really close friend, a family member, or maybe a colleague who is clearly starting a longer, more specific conversation.
All right. Here is your moment to practice. I want you to imagine you were just approached by a neighbor or maybe a coworker you see every day, and they smile and ask you, "How are you?" Go ahead and pause now. Try your answer out loud. And really focus on a friendly tone. "Okay, welcome back. How did that feel? Did you remember to keep it short?"
The simple responses are, without a doubt, the most natural and the most widely accepted. The key here is brevity and just a slight positive tone. So practice these variations out loud with us. "I'm good, thanks."
"I'm good, thanks."
Or a highly recommended one is, "Doing well, and you."
I like that one.
That second one is great because it immediately shows your fluency by just handing the conversational ball right back to the other person.
And the sources also give some great alternatives that sound a little more flexible, maybe less like you memorize them. So try repeating these and pay attention to how your tone goes up a little on the word bad or good to show that things are positive, like not bad or pretty good. And if you're feeling really relaxed, you can use the very casual all good.
And let's talk about the critical cultural nuance here. If you launch into the story of your horrible morning commute, or you start detailing a minor headache,
No.
it can feel like oversharing in a casual English context. The person who asked was probably just expecting a simple good, and now they feel this pressure to absorb this unexpected level of personal detail.
So the rule of thumb is keep it light, match your answer to the situation.
Exactly.
If it's a quick exchange, keep the answer quick. If it's a friend sitting down with you for coffee, then sure, you can offer more detail. Mastering this little 2-second exchange makes your whole English sound more natural because you're navigating that social subtext.
And just to add a quick technical detail here, notice we're using contractions. "I'm good." Now you can say "I am good," but the contraction is usually faster and it just sounds more fluid, more relaxed in a native conversation. So practice using those contractions to speed things up a bit.
Okay, on to our second foundational question. This one is especially common if you're in a multicultural place or if you have a noticeable accent. It's where are you from?
Right.
Now, I've heard from learners who feel a little uncomfortable with this question, like it's invasive or maybe even judgmental.
I can see that.
But the sources are so clear on this. This question is usually asked out of genuine curiosity and interest. People just enjoy connecting places and cultures to the person they're talking to. It's curiosity, not an interrogation.
Exactly. It's an easy, friendly topic that lets the other person learn something new about you. And if you can treat it like an opportunity to share something positive about your home, it just shifts the whole dynamic of the conversation.
So let's practice handling this one. I just want you to state your country, or maybe your hometown, the place where you grew up. Where are you from? Go ahead and pause now. Try your answer out loud and focus on being really clear.
Okay. The simplest and most direct answer is always going to be the best for speed. Something like, "I'm from Brazil," or "I'm from Kyoto in Japan." Simplicity always wins when speed and clarity are what you need.
But to really elevate that answer, the research says to add one small detail. Just one. That little detail turns your answer from just a fact into a real conversation starter.
Yeah.
For instance, "I'm from Lisbon. It's a beautiful city right on the coast." Or, "I grew up in Shanghai, a city that never sleeps."
See, that small addition just shows comfort. It shows you've thought about your response, and you're happy to share a little piece of information that invites a follow-up question.
Right, like, "Oh, I've always wanted to go there. What's your favorite park?" And here's where it gets really powerful for keeping the conversation going. Once you've answered, you need to turn the focus back. It creates this positive, balanced first impression. So try adding this common phrase. "I'm from Madrid. How about you?"
Or, "And where are you based?" Ending with that friendly, interested tone just keeps the dialogue balanced. It shows you're just as interested in them as they are in you.
And a quick note on the technical side. A lot of learners use prepositions a little awkwardly here. Just remember, you can say I come from or I am from, but stick to that simple structure. There's no need to overcomplicate it. Keep it clear, keep it confident.
Okay, now we're moving past those initial pleasantries and into questions that are looking for a bit more information about your life, about your routine. These are essential for moving conversations forward.
Right. So let's talk about the question, what do you do?
This question, which often comes right after finding out where you're from, is very straightforward. They just want to know about your job, your career, or what you're studying.
And you hear it everywhere, from a casual party to a professional networking event.
Everywhere.
And this is a question that I think a lot of people, even native speakers, kind of dread sometimes.
Right.
If you have a really complex or specialized job title, the instinct is to try and translate that whole long description. But that just brings us right back to that cognitive overload problem.
It does. And since we're focused on building confidence, complexity has to be totally optional. The sources suggest having 3 simple sort of templates ready to go.
Okay, time to practice. I want you to think about your current job or what you study and keep your answer nice and concise. What do you do? Go ahead, pause, and try your answer out loud.
All right, natural responses here use these really direct, clear structures. Let's go through 3 essential templates.
Okay.
Number 1 is the identity focus. I have a job title. So, for example, I'm an engineer or I'm a student of architecture.
Simple.
Very simple. Number 2 is the location or field focus. I work in industry department. So I work in finance or I work in nonprofit management.
Got it.
And number 3 is the action focus, which is often great for people who are self-employed.
Yeah.
I run a small type of business. Like, I run a small web design firm.
And you know, there's this really interesting habit that our source material points out among native speakers. It's this idea of conversational economy. They keep their first answer really short. And they only expand on it if the other person shows real interest with a follow-up question, like, oh, what kind of engineering?
Yeah, that's a great point.
This approach just makes the whole exchange more comfortable. It prevents that information dump. I heard a story once about someone trying to explain that their job was synergistic cross-platform digital strategist at a party, and the other person's eyes just glazed over.
Of course they did.
Keep it simple.
Absolutely. The first answer should be the headline, not the whole article. So a fantastic preparation tip for your solo practice is to have 1 extra sentence ready, a single expansion sentence, but you only use it if the conversation continues.
Okay, give me an example.
So you practice your main answer, and then you practice a simple expansion like, I primarily work with small businesses, or I really enjoy the creative problem-solving aspect of it. Practicing this 2-step approach makes you feel ready, but not, forced to over-explain.
That strategy is so comforting because it gives you a safety net without demanding complexity right away.
Okay, next up is a question that is a major, major source of confusion for learners. And that's, what are you doing?
Ah, yes.
Its meaning depends entirely on the verb tense, the present continuous. Are doing, it refers strictly to the present moment, the activity you're engaged in right now, not your job.
This distinction is so crucial. If you answer, I work, to the question, what are you doing? It just sounds unnatural. It almost sounds like you didn't hear the question correctly, even though your answer was technically in English.
Exactly. It's asking about your current activity. It's the most common, casual way people check in on you. Maybe over the phone or in a text message or when they just walk into your office. It's an instant snapshot of your current moment.
Okay, so let's imagine a friend just called you out of the blue. Or maybe you're sitting at your desk right now working on this deep dive with us. What are you doing right this second? What are you doing? Go ahead, pause the show, and try your answer out loud using the correct tense. All right. Once again, simplicity is your best friend here. Focus on the core verb structure. I am plus verbing. You do not need to be super detailed unless the situation really calls for it.
Natural, relaxed answers are the goal, so try repeating these out loud. I'm working on a project.
I'm working on a project.
I'm studying for an exam, or I'm just relaxing. These are direct, they're grammatically correct, and most importantly, they use that present continuous tense just right.
And here's a fun little curiosity that can help you feel more comfortable with real-world English. Native speakers often contract this or shorten it a lot. You might hear, what you doing? Or even more commonly, what are you up to?
Yeah. What are you up to?
It means exactly the same thing. What is your current activity?
Understanding that variation is so important because it's a very high-frequency phrase in conversational English, and answering it naturally requires you to be simple, relaxed, and just honest about your current moment. And remembering to consistently use the present continuous tense is, well, it's non-negotiable if you want to sound native.
So practice saying that contraction I'm nice and quickly before the main verb.
All right, once you've laid that factual foundation, conversations tend to deepen. They move into preferences, opinions, reasons. These next questions are all about building connection by finding things you have in common.
And the first one is the do you like structure. The conversational goal here is super straightforward. Find common ground, build a connection. Learners often feel this intense pressure to give a really complex, layered explanation of why they like something. But the sources are clear. A brief, one-sentence reason is often way more powerful.
We want to focus on how powerful and complete a short answer can be. You just follow it with a concise reason using the word because. That gives you the engagement you need without the cognitive burden of a full analysis.
Okay, let's use a nice, neutral topic for our practice moment, keeping with the theme of our deep dive today. Do you like listening to podcasts? Go ahead and pause here. Try your answer out loud and see if you can include a simple reason. All right. Short answers are absolutely fine. You could say, yes, I do, or not really, I prefer music.
But if you want to add that little layer of engagement, practice linking your short answer to one simple reason using because, for instance. Yes, I do, because it helps me focus while I'm driving.
Or, not really, because I find it hard to pay attention for long periods.
See, that one connecting word because just elevates the whole exchange dramatically. But it doesn't demand a 5-sentence response. You've answered, you've expressed a preference, and you've given a reason, all in one smooth statement.
Now, for the polite nuance. What if you don't really have a strong feeling?
That's a great question. The sources point out that saying it's okay or they're fine is a really common and polite way to express that neutral feeling. It avoids being too negative, but it's still honest, and it's socially comfortable for the other person to hear.
Okay.
A really useful alternative is the phrase, I can take them or leave them.
I love that phrase.
It means, I don't feel strongly either way.
I can take them or leave them. That's a fantastic, natural-sounding expression that you can add to your toolkit right away. It shows this advanced comfort with an idiom, but it keeps the emotional content totally neutral.
All right, next question. What do you think? Now, this is an open invitation for your opinion, but we have to manage the pressure right away. In a casual conversation, the answer does not need to be complex or formal. You are not being asked to write an essay.
We want you to feel free to express yourself, but to keep the phrasing simple and natural. So focus on the framework that signals you're giving an opinion. So let's practice. What do you think about people who study languages alone? Go ahead and pause. Try your answer out loud and start with a phrase that clearly signals your opinion. Okay. The best way to start is with these simple, low-pressure phrases that act as signals. So practice repeating these. I think it's interesting but hard. Or, if you agree with the idea, I think it's a good idea if you are disciplined.
It often surprises learners to find out how much native speakers rely on these little opening signals, I feel, or in my opinion.
Right.
These phrases are so crucial because they immediately let the other person know you're about to express a personal viewpoint.
Yeah.
And they also buy your brain a split second to actually formulate the thought.
So while adding, in my opinion, or from my perspective, is optional, it can be really helpful for clarity, can it? Especially if you're talking about a sensitive topic.
Absolutely. But critically, we should use a little conclusion, or what we can call a softener, to make the answer sound polite and conversational. It acknowledges that your opinion is not, universal truth.
So what's a good softener?
A great one to practice is adding this to the end of your answer. That's just my opinion. It signals confidence, but also humility, which makes your whole answer really polite and easy for someone to receive.
Or if you want something a bit more casual, you could say, but that's just me. These little additions show that you're fluent not just in the words, but also in the social rules of disagreement or having a different opinion.
Okay, now for the single word that can cause so much stress, why?
The big one.
It can feel like a challenge because it explicitly demands a reason, an explanation. It forces you to construct a connecting clause. And for learners who are already overthinking grammar, this one word can trigger a complete brain freeze.
But the simplicity rule applies here too. Even though it asks for an explanation, simple answers are usually more than enough. I have to challenge that a little bit, though. Won't people think I'm being rude or uncommunicative if I just say, because I like it?
That is a really common anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But in the context of that conversational economy we talked about, simple answers are often perfectly natural. When the reason is intuitive or personal or immediate, there's no requirement for a long answer.
Okay.
If you ask a friend why they chose the cheaper coffee, because it's easier on my budget, is a perfectly fine answer. You don't need a 5-sentence economic justification.
All right, let's try answering a question about a personal decision. Why are you studying English today? Go ahead, pause, and try your answer out loud. Use a simple reason and a clear connector word.
So keep it simple, using the connector because. Natural responses would be something like, because I need it for my new job, or because I want to travel more confidently. Those answers are clear, direct, and totally natural.
And here's the key to using this informally. If the reason is really personal, or it's hard to define, or maybe not immediately clear, native speakers often use the phrase just because.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Right. Why did you choose that color? Answer, oh, just because. And this is completely acceptable in casual English. It basically means the reason isn't important enough to explain, or it's just a preference.
The important takeaway here is that the pressure to find the perfect, complex explanation it disappears when you remember that simplicity and directness are often the most natural conversational choices, especially when you say it with a calm, confident tone. The confidence in your delivery can often override the simplicity of the reason.
Okay, our final set of practice moments is all about navigating the logistics of daily life, making plans, showing you're available, and handling requests for help.
These are absolutely essential for just functioning in an English environment, whether it's work or at the grocery store.
So let's start with, are you busy?
Let's look at the cultural context here first. When someone asks, are you busy? They're actually performing a polite social service.
That's a good way to put it.
They're respecting your time, they're checking your availability, they're trying not to interrupt something important. It's never an accusation.
It's a polite dateway question that comes before a request. So let's practice giving an honest but clear answer about your current status. And remember, honesty and clarity are what prevent future misunderstandings. Are you busy right now? Go ahead and pause. Try your answer out loud and be really clear about your availability. All right? Your answer should be honest, but it needs to be immediately clear. So try these short options. A little, but I can talk.
Yeah.
Not really, what's up?
Yeah.
Or the more definitive, yes, right now I'm on a deadline.
And the critical piece here, especially in a professional setting, is the follow-up or the clarification. If you are busy, you really should offer an alternative. The common, necessary follow-up is something like, but I can talk later, maybe in 20 minutes, or can I call you back when I'm free?
Yeah.
That clarity helps avoid any confusion, and it keeps the interaction positive, even if you can't talk right at that moment.
You can also show that you're busy, but you're still open to the topic by saying something like, I'm a little tied up, but what's this about? This is a great natural way to quickly screen a request without shutting the person down completely.
And a quick technical note, pay attention to using softeners again. When you say yes right now, it helps a lot to add a phrase like, I'm sorry, or unfortunately, just to soften the impact of the refusal, even though you're just being honest.
Okay, next one. Any plans for today? This falls squarely into friendly, informal small talk. It's mostly used just to start a conversation, not to get a detailed itinerary of your day. The intent is light, so your answer should be light. You do not need to invent exciting plans to answer this well.
The core intent is really just to fill a silence and show some friendly interest. An answer that's too detailed can feel a little heavy, so we're looking for the linguistic equivalent of a shrug.
Okay, let's practice. Any plans for today? Go ahead and pause. Try your answer out loud. Keep it low-key.
So keep it light and relaxed. Natural responses include things like, not much, just hanging out at home. Or a slightly longer but still relaxed summary, just working this morning and then relaxing this evening. It's probably best to avoid saying things like, nothing interesting, as that can sometimes sound a little negative or dismissive.
You could also mention one small low-key activity. That makes the answer feel engaging, but it doesn't require any commitment. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
For example, I'm going for a walk later to clear my head, or I might watch a new movie tonight. Just remember, the sources confirm this is often just conversational filler. Keeping your answer low-key is the best way to sound natural.
And, just like with the other questions, if you want to keep the flow going, you can answer and immediately turn the question back around. Not much, just laundry and some work. What are you up to later?
All right, our final question deals with direct requests for help. Can you help me? When someone asks this, English speakers really appreciate honesty and clarity above everything else. So don't promise something you can't deliver, but always try to show willingness if you can.
This exchange is entirely practical. The tone should just be calm and collaborative.
So let's practice giving immediate, helpful, or clearly honest responses. Can you help me? Go ahead and pause one last time and try your answer out loud.
Yep.
If you can help, use short affirmative responses that show you're willing and are easy to just pull out instantly. Things like, sure, what's the problem?
Of course, I'd be happy to.
Or the slightly more cautious, I'll try my best.
And if you're not able to help, it is absolutely essential to be honest, but polite. The kindest, most polite refusal is something like, I'm sorry, I can't right now, I have a conflicting meeting. Adding a very brief, clear reason often softens that refusal.
And there's a crucial cultural curiosity here that can buy you some time and show a collaborative spirit. If you want to show you're willing to help, but you can't immediately promise a solution.
Right, maybe you need to check your schedule or something.
Exactly. Or you need to actually look at the problem first. You can say, let me see, or I'm not sure, let me check my calendar. This keeps the door open. It shows you care, but you're not committing immediately to something you might not be able to do.
Learning these simple, clear responses for requests for help just makes everyday communication so much easier. You have a prepared response for yes, no, and maybe. And that ensures the interaction stays positive and professional no matter what your availability is.
So we've covered 10 essential questions. These really form the true backbone of everyday conversation, from simple greetings all the way to managing opinions and requests. We really hope that by practicing with these structured pauses, you feel a greater sense of control.
The value here lies completely in consistency and in mental preparedness. Practicing these simple answers out loud, consistently, calmly, it is the quickest, most direct route to building real confidence and fluency over time.
It's all about reducing that cognitive load.
Exactly. It's psycholinguistics.
Yeah.
You're making the simple phrases automatic so your brain is free to concentrate on the more complex ideas later on.
So we strongly encourage you to think about which of these natural answers, the short ones, the varied ones, the ones using contractions, which ones felt most comfortable for you during our pauses. Take those structures and adapt them to your own personality, your own daily life. Authenticity is what makes the words truly yours. It always speeds up retention.
And just remember what the sources emphasize. Fluency is not about complexity. It's about comfort. Confidently and clearly answering these simple questions is the single most powerful step you can take toward unlocking real, spontaneous conversations with other people.
It builds that foundation of ease.
Exactly. That foundation that allows all the complexity to follow naturally.
Thank you so much for joining us on this very practical deep dive into your source material. Keep practicing these phrases out loud. Feel comfortable with the mistakes you'll inevitably make, and just keep building that foundational comfort.
And if you are looking for more guided, calm, and practical English practice in this same supportive, zero-judgment style, we really recommend you explore Fluent Mindcast. It's a trusted space for real-life English practice that continues this supportive journey toward conversational ease.
Until next time, keep diving deep.